Center in Pine Bush, New York. I wanted to see how you're doing with your quilting, with your cutting. How are your rulers? You are only as good as your tools. That means if you go to cut and your ruler is slipping and sliding on you, you can't be a good quilter. You are only as good as the tools that you have. So I wanted to show you how the Quilter Select rulers compare to some of the other rulers. They are amazing. They are non-slip, and once you see them, you are going to have them. They are amazing. So let me just get into it and show you what they're all about. Your Quilter Select ruler will look just like any ruler that you're used to. It is the same width, it is the same length, it is the same thickness. Everything looks the same except how it works. If you feel the back of one of these rulers, there is a coating on it. I can't tell you what it is because I don't really know exactly what it is, but what I can tell you is that it's magic. So when you place this on your fabric, it is not going to slide at all. You are definitely going to want to have these. So let me show you, let me place this ruler on a piece of fabric and show you how amazing it is. When I place this ruler down, how often do you place a ruler down? You go to cut a strip, by the time you get to the end, the ruler has gone off to the side. Happens a lot. Your long strips, they get narrower or they get crooked or something. This ruler, if you notice, when I go to move it, it is barely moving. Can I move it? Yes, of course. I can barely move it, but I can pick it up. I can move it around. But like you see here, it is barely slipping and sliding at all. It is stuck. Let me just show you some other rulers. If you put this down and you go to cut, it can slip, it can slide, it can move all around. Even when you put pressure on it, that helps, but it doesn't necessarily stay where you want it. There is ability to move. And that ruler just came out of the package just as it was. There was nothing on it. Just as it came out of the package, it did slide on us a little bit. I have another ruler that I've put a film on the back that will help with the sliding, but it's not going to make it perfect. This ruler, when I put it down, it has the film and it will still slide on me, but when I put pressure, it does hold pretty tight. Can I get it to slip? Yes. Do I want it to slip? No. So if I'm very careful, if I've put that film on the back, it will help. The last ruler I want to tell you about is a clear one. I can see all my lines, but when I go to put this down on my fabric, even though it had some grippers on the back, it still will slide. I put this down, it has the grippers, but I can definitely get it to slide. So as I'm cutting, if I'm not super careful, I don't put perfect pressure, I'm not perfect, it's going to slip and slide on me. So there you have it. The Quilter Select ruler is the best. But before you take my word for it, let me show it to you in action. I'm placing this ruler down on my fabric. I just want to trim up an edge. So what I'm doing now is I am going to make sure it's nice and even down here. Looks good. I'm just going to trim a little bit of fabric off the edge. Now I have the Quilter Select cutter. You may or may not have heard of it, but it is slightly heavier than a standard rotary cutter. It's about ½ a pound. This really feels like it's a tool now, not just it's a toy. This really has some weight to it. I feel like I'm holding on to something that it's really going to work for me. And the benefit to the weight is that as I'm pushing down, the rotary cutter is helping move it along. It's heavy. It's going to give a little extra pressure as I'm pushing. It's less work that I have to do. Really helps those if you have trouble with arthritis or if you have trouble maneuvering. The weight of it actually helps. It doesn't hinder. I am going to cut with my right hand. So I am going to just push this little button here and tap. It is now open. Without too much work, I'm able to just put my hand here and cut. There you have it. I didn't have to walk my hand up. I didn't have to do anything to make sure that this worked nicely. You saw nothing slipped, nothing slid. Now, I am a big fan of keeping my cutter closed. This right now, if I sat down, I would manage to cut myself. So when you're all done, you just tap on the back and it's closed. So now it's open and closed without pushing, pulling, doing any maneuvering with your hands. You just push this button, tap, it's open. When you're done, tap the other side and it's closed. How easy is that? I'm able to easily pick up this ruler and move it. But if you have trouble grasping them, Quilter Select has thought of it all. This is just a little handle. You can put it down and then you can pick it up, move it where you need. It very easily peels off. So you only need to have one for all your rulers, but it just slips on and you can move it where you need. So that's another cool thing that Quilter Select has. Have you ever wanted to square up a block? You have the perfect size square and you just can't seem to get it right. Well, give this ruler a try. Let me show you how good it is. We're going to place it down on our fabric. We're going to cut two sides. We're going to rotate everything and we're going to trim the other two sides. Nothing's going to slip. Nothing's going to slide. It's amazing. I have a block here that I'd like to square up to 6.5. So I'm going to place my 6.5-inch square on the fabric and I'm going to get it where I need. Now, it's not just going to slip and slide where I need it to go, so I'm going to carefully lift it up, place it where I want. If I can't get my fingers to maneuver around and place it where I want, I can use my Quilter Select handle, pick it up, get it right where I want, and I can cut with the handle on or I can take it off, but I'm going to leave it on. Remember, to open the cutter, you're just going to push on the button, tap it on your mat, it is open. I'm going to cut one side. I'm going to cut the second side. Cut perfectly. I'm now going to close my cutter by tapping on the back side. It is now closed. I just cut the two sides and now I need to cut the other two sides. I can walk around the table or I can just push down on my ruler and turn it. My fabric is not moving. I've turned once, but I'm going to turn one more time. And now I'm going to open my cutter, cut one side, cut the last side, and then I'm going to close my cutter. So now when I lift this up, I have a perfect 6.5-inch square. In addition to the rulers, the handle, and the rotary cutter, Quilter Select also makes rotary cutting mats. Right now, I'm working on the light gray side. You can see there's 1-inch marks. There's 1/4, 1/2, and 3/4. There are also 1/8-inch markings. You've also got your 45-degree, your 60, and your 30-degree angles. So it's very easy to line things up. It is a 3-ply mat, which means it's very thick. Just like the cutter, it's a little heavier. And on the back, it is a second mat. It is a darker gray with lighter markings on it. My favorite part of this mat is if you look at the side, you've got numbers. So counting from here, we count up in the dark boxes 1 through 24. If the mat's turned around or from on the other side of the table or from left-handed, right-handed, whatever, however I turn the mat, I can read the numbers without reading backwards. So if I look in my light boxes, I've got 1, 2, 3, all the way up to the 24 inches on this side. Same goes for all 4 sides. No matter where you're standing, you can read a number without having to contort your head or count backwards. That to me is priceless. I am forever laying my mat wrong and I just want to take a quick measure. Is this 8 inches? Is this 9 inches? What size is it? And my mat is always the wrong way. I always have to move it around or twist things. So that to me is a wonderful feature. So are you sold? Are they amazing? I know a lot of people think I've invested so much in my rulers. I don't want to buy more, and that's okay. But that just means if anything slips and slides, hey, it's on you now. You know there's something better out there. Again, we are only as good as the tools that we have. If you enjoyed learning about the Quilter Select rulers, cutters, handle, and mat, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much.